And coming to you live, once again, it's your boy Wex breaking the Lawson for another AEW Dynamite review. Before we get into the review, I just want to announce we got a new episode of Kayfabe Comparisons podcast coming out this Saturday. We compared AEW's Revolution, the pay-per-view that just happened this Sunday, going up against the classic NXT TakeOver Dallas. It was just me and Daniel this time, but it was a great show. Be sure to check that out on all podcast platforms. And of course, Revive Pro Wrestling is returning this Saturday, March the 13th at the Fighting Spirit Tournament. Be sure to come check that out. We're going to have a lot of great stuff. And check out another little video I'm going to have uploaded later announcing the first round competitors to the tournament. Getting right into the first match of the night, we opened up with Matt Jackson taking on Rey Fenix, and I did notice one little thing. Rey Fenix and Pac came out of the babyface tunnel. I don't know if that's signaling a little turn, but every once in a while you notice little subtle things like that, but holy fucking shit! These guys put on a barn burner for the first match of the night, and I can't say enough great things about this. Like, they were doing everything. Fenix was doing crazy shit. You don't really see Matt compete in too many singles matches, and this was great. I really love the stuff they were doing. Matt Jackson was locking so many sharpshooters on Fenix left and right, trying to take out his back, trying to give him a taste of his own medicine. You know, Matt Jackson's had the weak lower back since like fucking 2013. He's been selling that shit for years. But this is a solid match, lots of solid back and forth. They were like mirroring super kicks. We got this 1-6 sequence of the Canadian Destroyer on the inside. Fenix slides out to another Canadian Destroyer done on him on the outside. Just lots of crazy shit heating up in this match, and they started just trading blows at one point in the ring, just back and forth, and Matt hits a super kick, and then Fenix is down, pops up, hits an enziguri with his last bit of fucking energy. They're both out on the mat. It was just, I loved it. It was great. They get up, they're exchanging strikes. Matt goes for the tombstone. Fenix reverses it into his driver for the win. Damn, what a good-ass match. Possibly, I don't want to, you know, talk a little too soon, but it's one of my favorite matches of the year on AEW, or just pretty much in pro wrestling so far. I loved that match. It was great. I just felt great after it ended, and I just wanted more, and that's what you need in a wrestling match. Alright, next up we got a little interview backstage with Jon Moxley and Eddie Kingston, basically trying to explain the snafu, the botch, the fuck-up that happened during AEW's Revolution at the final seconds in the big explosion, and he sold it well. Eddie Kingston cuts the best promos. I've talked about him here many times. He's a goddamn genius on the mic, and he sold it as he was nervous. It reminded him he had anxiety from back the time when he was in jail. He was waiting to go to trial, and he was in court and shit, and he flashed back, and he passed out on top of his friend, and I liked it. They sold it great. Mox, you know, was back there, you know, looking a little fucking beat up, but not, they didn't sell that part too much. We'll get into that later, but I really liked the explanation from Eddie Kingston. It was solid. Alright, up next, we got a fucking squash match with Cody Rhodes. It started, I literally went to the other room and came back, and before I knew it, he had the guy in a fucking figure 4 leg lock and he was tapping. I was like, well, that was fucking quick. Cody just squashed another jobber. But then, the best part of this segment came up. One of my favorite wrestlers, one of the best luchadors ever, Penta El Zero M, stood up from the Spanish announce table and got Alex Abrahantes to do some translating for him, and he just talked shit to Cody, and like, if you're the prince of pro wrestling, I'm the lord of Lucha Libre. I thought that was fucking sick. I love Pentagon Jr. I want to see where this feud goes. He talked a little bit more shit and mentioned something about how he's going to beat him so badly, won't be able to hold his newborn baby, so Cody hopped the barricade and was like, I'm going to whoop your ass, you ain't going to talk about my motherfucking family. But Pentagon doesn't give a fuck because he's a badass motherfucker. Cero Miedo. Yeah, I'm really hyped for this shit, and I want to see Cody get bloodied the fuck up by Pentagon and just get the shit beat out of him, because I love me some Pentagon, and you know how I feel about Cody. You've seen the show. We got yet another traditional Tony Schiavone Sting interview on the stage that was actually interrupted by Lance Archer and Jake the Snake, because he's like, I don't give a fuck. I didn't need to win the Face of the Revolution match. I am the Face of the Revolution. And Jake the Snake even got in the mic and said, Stanger, which I popped for. I like that little tidbit right there. Up next, we got Big Shotty Lee Johnson taking on Ethan Page, and right here in my notes, my phone auto-corrected Big Shotty Lee to Big Shitty Lee. And I didn't change it because I laughed at it. It was funny, but we all know he's Big Shotty Lee, but in my phone he's Big Shitty Lee. And honestly, I could not pay attention to this match. There was an audio box where there was like audio from the arena of a basketball game playing in the background, and it was really, really fucking terrible. I thought there was something wrong with the TV, and at one point I paused it on DVR to go piss and then came back, and then I fast-forwarded, thought it would like catch up, thought there was like a fuck-up, but no, literally through his entire match, you could hear like, defense, defense, and like sneakers going on the court and like all the fucking shit from the basketball game, and it completely took me out of the match. He ended up winning with, I guess, like the Razor's Edge, whatever the fuck, whatever he calls his version of it, and I was like, alright, this is over, and literally immediately after it was over, the audio went back to normal, so I don't know if someone was playing a rib on Ethan Page or Big Shitty Lee or what was going on, but I could not get into that match. Shaq's in there fucking with the audio, He's trying to fuck with the Nightmare family. It's a deeper storyline. Up next, we got Tony Schiavone back on the stage of the mic, about to introduce Christian to come to the ring to speak for the first time in AEW, who debuted at Revolution. Christian Cage, actually. You can't go by Christian because that's owned by WWE, but Christian Cage is full game. Remember that good-ass TNA run? Good shit, excited for Christian in AEW, and we'll get to that here towards the end of this segment. As he's getting ready to come, we hear some different music pop out. We get the girls coming out, sweeping the brooms, and your boy, the cleaner, you can read on his ass right there, Kenny Omega, came out to the ring and just basically interrupted Schiavone, walked right on past him, came out with the Good Brothers, Don Callis, and they came in there to do some shit talking, and they sold it great on their end also about the explosion. They couldn't confirm or deny if it was a botch, but they said it was the best of both worlds. If the explosion would have happened, Moxley got fucked up, they wouldn't have to worry about him again, but it not exploding just kind of made him look like a dumbass, and it took away Eddie Kingston's big moment as the hero. So Eddie Kingston is pissed off. You know he ain't gonna take that shit, so he comes down to the ring, gets in the ring with 4 people. He doesn't care about being outnumbered. It's a goddamn Eddie Kingston. Don Callis proceeds to talk shit about him, talked about how when he worked at Impact, talk about how he likes to fuck shit up right before things get good for him like he always does. And he was just, didn't give a fuck, and he was just pissed off, ready to whoop their ass, and they're like, alright then, man, we're gonna give you 10 seconds to leave the ring, and they start playing 10 seconds like the countdown from the pay-per-view with the whole thing, and then Kenny Omega lays on the ground and goes, alright, hurry, Don, 69 me. And I fucking popped for that so hard. I was like, alright, they saved the angle for me. Kenny just said 69 me. That was fucking great. And John Silver from the Dark Order actually posted on Twitter later, if Kenny Omega joined the Dark Order, his number would be 69. And I really hope we see that sometime in the future. And he'll be all 69, and he'll be 69ing with the Kool-Aid Man. Ooh, I went heavy on the juice. And Eddie Kingston didn't bite and just immediately started getting his ass whooped by all 4 of them. Then John Moxley himself ran down to the ring, which he's supposed to be sort of beat up, but I guess not because the explosion didn't go off, but it was still a pretty hard match, lots of blood, so I don't get what they're doing there, but he ran down to the ring anyway, started helping Eddie Kingston, but then he started getting his ass beat. They're pretty outnumbered, and then before we know it, the music that was supposed to play earlier in the segment played, and Christian Cage made his way down to the ring and stood toe-to-toe, face-to-face, eye-to-eye with the AEW World Champion Kenny Omega. And Kenny Omega went for the swing, but it was a miss. He ducked, and Christian grabbed him, locked him in. I don't know what I'm doing here, but I'm going for the unprettier, aka the kill switch. You know the finisher I'm talking about. He's going to lock it in, but Don Callis saved Kenny. I'm really looking forward to this. I said as soon as Christian came out, I was like, dude, Kenny Omega versus Christian. I don't care if it's a former WWE or TNA guy going straight to the top for the title. He's not going to win it, so of course, I mean, I'd love to see that. Eventually he can win it later down the line when he gets his rematch or builds his way back up, but I'd love to see just a one-shot Christian versus Kenny. It'd be fucking tight. All right, up next, we got a trios match, women's match. We got Hikaru Shida, Ryo Mizunami, and Thunder Rosa going up against the team of Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, the Native Beast Nyla Rose, and Maki Ito. And Maki Ito basically made this match for me because the match itself really wasn't very good, and the main thing was like the story at the very end between Thunder Rosa and Britt Baker, but Maki Ito came down singing her fucking Japanese pop song, and the match just starts. Everyone's starting to whoop ass, and she's like, fuck it. Even though the song's off, I'm gonna finish my music because that's what I'm gonna fucking do. I thought it was great. Her offense, not the best, I'd say. Not very stiff like it should be. She's Japanese, it should be fucking stiff. She needs to learn from her girls over there. Very light bops, but besides that, she's fucking entertaining. I loved it. The end of this match basically saw Thunder Rosa get beat up by all the heels, Britt Baker locking the lockjaw, and that's setting up for next week, which I'm actually really looking forward to. The main event, a lights-out, unsanctioned match, Britt Baker versus Thunder Rosa. I'm hoping they beat the fuck out of each other. I want to see blood. I want to see some pain. I want to see some destruction. All right. And our final matchup of the night, which was another fucking barn burner. They started off fucking hot. They ended hot with a sick-ass match. The TNT champion, Darby Allin, defending his title against the winner of the Face of the Revolution ladder match at AEW Revolution last Sunday, Scorpio Sky, the man who climbed to the top of that ladder and grabbed the brass ring. And this match was so fucking good. It started off more of a slow-paced, chain wrestling, mat-based work. And like we saw with Darby Allin facing Joey Janela like a month ago in Dynamite, we saw that he doesn't have to be the crazy, high-flying, putting his body on the line all the time. He can work a slow-paced style match. He can do anything. That's why I fucking love Darby Allin. He can adapt to any situation, and he adapted great here with Scorpio Sky, and they just put on a clinic. And we got some super sick-ass spots with Darby Allin going for a tope suicida, Scorpio catching it into a cutter, and then him also reversing his coffin drop into a powerbomb. and Darby Allin was getting the fuck beat out of him, basically, throughout most of the match, and he tweaked his ankle real hard, like, towards the end, and at first I thought it was, like, a real injury, but then once you get to the end of the match, you'll see that it was definitely set up for this ending. But, you know, Darby's getting the fuck beat out of him, Scorpio Sky's setting up for the TKO, then he reverses it, rolls up for the 1-2-3 victory out of nowhere, pulls it off, and then after the match, Scorpio Sky just can't believe it, and he's like, fuck, we saw this coming. He's been acting a little hillish on commentary lately, and what do you know? He goes over there and starts beating down on Darby Allin. Then he takes the injured ankle, locks in the heel hook as he's turning heel. I like that. I see what they did there. I don't know if they did that on purpose, but somebody's got to be thinking that. He locked in that heel hook, and he wouldn't let it go. The rest of everybody tried to come break it up, and he finally lets go. Then he exits through the heel tunnel. Heel everything, pure heel at this point. If he somehow comes back to be a babyface next week, I'm going to be like, what the fuck happened? But pretty sure he's a heel. And the final segment of the night, something that I've been sort of predicting, but my prediction didn't really go as planned, but sort of how I went. But the Inner Circle, they're coming down to the ring for the War Council because Jericho said after they failed to gain the tag team championships from the Young Bucks at Revolution, they said there need to be some changes in the Inner Circle. And then before everything starts, we get Sammy Guevara. He runs down to the ring and he's like, Jericho, Jericho. And he's like, I don't want to hear it. Fuck you, I don't want to hear it. And he's like, no, look. And he shows a video of a hidden camera, pops it up, and MJF is plotting against Chris Jericho with all the other members of the Inner Circle. And they're like, it's time for some new changes in here. And we're like, yeah, basically we're going to kick you out of the Inner Circle and MJF's going to be the new leader. And then he turns to Jericho and he's like, hey, I didn't want it to be like this. Didn't want you to find out. As Chris Jericho thinks the Inner Circle's turning on him, they all turn back at MJF. And he's like, you dumb son of a bitch. Do you not think I talk to these guys every day? I knew what the fuck you were doing. And then MJF's like, no, please don't beat me. I'm sorry. I wasn't trying to take over the Inner Circle. I wasn't trying to take over the Inner Circle because I was too busy making friends of my own. Then the lights went out, and behind them it was FTR, Shawn Spears, Tully Blanchard, and Wardlow, and they proceeded to beat the fuck out of the Inner Circle. I did not see that coming. I knew there was going to be dissension with Sammy Guevara, and I teased and I said I knew this was going to culminate in him turning babyface in a solid babyface run, but we literally got the entire Inner Circle turning babyface at this point, so great. I did not see that coming. It was mind blown at this point. They beat the fuck out of the Inner Circle, handcuffed Santana and Ortiz, put Sammy Guevara's head through a chair, and fucked up Jericho and put him through two tables. I could tell it's a little padded down there, you know, but hey, he's old, it's okay. He still puts his body on the line harder than I probably ever have, and probably ever will, but goddamn it. Great ending to the show. I did not see MJF's new Super Four Horsemen-like type beat faction coming into fruition, but it did. It happened. And this is a goddamn great episode. Just like last week's Go Home show to Revolution, the AEW Revolution Fallout show, another one, got a whole fucking 6-pack for me. 6 out of 6 beers. I thought it was a great show. So until next time, I want you to like, subscribe, share all that goddamn bullshit you do on the YouTube, and we'll see you next week. Suck it!